Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, we invite you to pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue. We speak about it on this program. And you have the power to change the subject matter. I will stop in the middle of a sentence and give what you have to say prominence. And you could speak on anything, any issue you want to raise. You could ask questions. I may not be able to answer it, but sometimes other callers could, or I'll do some research and come back with an answer for you. We're in the month of November. Catholics and some other religion consider this month special as praying for the dead. They say death is the end, but it's not the end. And you'll find Catholics in particular pray for the dead. They believe it is a good and wholesome thing to do. The war in Israel, that is the new kid on the block. That's a fresh war. The war between Russia and Ukraine, people start to get tired, fatigue. It's not ending. It's going on long. Now the Israeli war is also a couple of weeks old, several weeks now. I think 31 days. And the war is going on still. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my brother, good to hear your voice, man.
Well, it's a little while I don't open back, but
And it's always good to come down one down. It's always good to face the new ball.
I forgot to tell you, I was really happy to hear some of our history. Brave Boy, Mr. Brave Boy, sometime, I think it was Monday. It was one morning. You need a hero, the late Sir Eric.
Gairy.
I'm glad you all does refresh the people's brain with this man who has been one of these great successful leaders. Because I'm saying presently now the two most successful politicians in this country is Eric Gairy and Mitchell. And nobody cannot challenge that. These two people was very successful. And the next point I want to make quickly is you as a leader don't have love for the poor people of this country. Your stay will be very, very short. I will tell you why. I remember in the late 70s, Eric Matthew Gairy, people daddy. Now this season, you see, he line up the old people by stairs, a 10-pound paper bag with some grocery. And those days, $3 mean a lot. Everybody, and the people saying daddy, and they're so happy. Go to Grenville, by Hutcherson, go to big places, and he line up these people. And this is why he was so successful. I could tell any leader, I could challenge any leader, if you interfere with the poor people of this country, you're in a lot of trouble. Never, never interfere with vulnerable, as Mr. call them, the low income bracket, the people in the low income bracket. This is the people who are targeting us. You have many people too. All the old heads. You have land for the landless. Invite them to hear their views. The late side never leave out the poor and vulnerable of this country. So anybody else who think they could not and be successful, they just try nothing. They're just trying something. I could tell them that big and bold, never interfere with these people of this country. And Mr. Pierre could bear me in that area. Never interfere with the poor and vulnerable. Money from them. Also put money for them if you could. Because this is the people that have us today. So if you quite agree with me. So I really congratulate you for being Mr. Brave Boy now and then. Giving the back history of how he came in, how much time he win. His wife came in and who came in. And this man was a special man. And also, we have another special hero, Dr. Kit Mitchell. And no one cannot challenge me on that. I thank you.
Yes, my brother, and in full support of you. See, in democratic societies and even in big societies, emphasis is placed on improving the lives of the people in the society, the quality of life they live. And Eric Gairy has done a fantastic job in trying to improve the lives of the people. At some stage, it was a question of raising the income they work for. And that's when you had the massive industrial action and the British government sending battleship in Grenada. And then Gairy recognized that we must build more schools. So during his 13 and a half years, 28 schools were built, and technical education and pre-primary education. He said if you have a place to put your children, you could go to work. Because people was practically leaving their children home to go to work. There are some churches that was not baptizing children on Sundays. So if you was a bastard child, you were not able to baptize on Sundays. You had to baptize during the week. And some people could not have afford to lose a day work. So a lot of Catholics went to the Anglican church, got baptized on Sunday, and go back in the Catholic church. It was tough all about, and there was no voices supporting the challenges or addressing the challenge of the people in this group. So Eric Gairy took on almost everything. That was one of the powerful voices. And then he had to motivate his people to send the children to school. Because they had a culture, they didn't see education that important. Why you don't send the children to school? They don't have no food. All sorts of stories. So the government then introduced truancy officers. Send the children to school. And in those days, they used to beat you mercilessly in school. The skin on your back was hide. Parents used to be beating children to go to school. You know? And Eric Gairy recognized that and went on to bring in Grenada and establish St. George's University. And it was amazing the criticism that Gairy got for bringing in St. George's University. Today, St. George's University contributes more than 20% of the GDP in Grenada and is one of the biggest suppliers of medical doctors for the United States of America. But you had a lot of fight back. People did not want the ordinary man to get educated because they claim if they get educated, who is going to walk the land? They were very short-sighted. And still Gairy had to try to motivate people, make them believe they could succeed. It was a challenge. Now we have a government that come back and you're asking where are the voices in Grenada for the people we fought 4 years ago? Listen to the language of members of the National Democratic Congress. Very dismissive language, insulting language, disparaging words used, as if they want to put these people in the place. Nasty people, classless people. And all these statements are endorsed by the National Democratic Congress authorities. I mean, I have difficulties, great difficulties in understanding how a mouthpiece of the National Democratic Congress could call people classless, identify villages as classless, and the Prime Minister of Grenada endorses that. Difficult for me. How a minister could identify the people who support him in the constituency as good people. How does any one of the ministers on the National Democratic Congress could endorse their spokespersons calling Grenadians or some Grenadians nasty people? I have difficulties. When the previous opposition leader, Mr. Tobias Clement, said that the National Democratic Congress is not inclusive, the Congress didn't even feel ashamed, you know. They know it's true, they didn't bother. They didn't bother to challenge his statement because this is not an inclusive government. It's a government that every time they come in power, they show the colors. A clear line of divide, a line of demarcation is drawn between people in the lower income group and them. And to win election, they always have to try to woo or lure individuals in the lower income group to support them. This government is difficult. And it's even saddened my heart that we are approaching 50 years since independence. And the Prime Minister says, and it seems to be endorsed by his other colleagues, that nothing has been achieved in Grenada since 1983. Nothing has been achieved in Grenada since 1983. And some of his social media warriors seems to be taking offense when members of the opposition point out that the project you're doing was started by us. And it's a means to intimidate them. But you mustn't stop. I think it is necessary to challenge the Congress. The NDC endorses the period of 1979 to 1983 as the most glorious period in Grenada. They endorse it. They're still on the process of declaring Maurice Bishop a hero. But they refuse to entertain the dark side of Maurice Bishop. And we must not let them get away with it. The NDC propaganda machine is very good. We must not let them get away with that piece of misinformation and lies. That's why I challenge the Independence Committee to investigate the death of the woman in Birch Grove. Because if you on the trajectory to declare the heroship of Maurice Bishop, You ought to investigate the dark sides of Bishop. Bishop committed treason. Bishop hid behind women and children. And Maurice Bishop jailed over 3,000 Grenadians without charge, without trial, without an opportunity to defend themselves. What is heroship about that? What's about the torture? What's about the torture of political detainees? Tell us about Bobby Clark. What was the purpose of Bobby Clark's role in Grenada? What purpose Bobby Clark had in Grenada? What role Bobby Clark played in the torturing of Grenadians? The committee must investigate that. Why Maurice Bishop got so angry with the Rastafarians? Did the meeting Desmond Trotter had with Maurice Bishop had anything to do with that? Maurice Bishop didn't even respect the church. When the bishop wanted to have a meeting with him, he had him waiting for hours. The bishop got so fed up, he sent to Rome for assistance. Bishop was a common criminal. What heroship you want to bestow on Bishop? The National Democratic Congress, they sit down, they plan lies, and then they want to build propaganda so people must accept these lies. This is unacceptable. It's really unacceptable. As you look at the situation in Israel and the war with Israel and Hamas, Israel is chastised mercilessly for the damage done to residential areas and the death of women and children. And rightly so. But I don't see the same amount of emphasis placed in Hamas for building the defense system under hospitals and residential areas. There's some small similarities in Grenada here. Maurice Bishop used women and children. He hid behind them. Every time Bishop had a demonstration, he went to the schoolhouse, sent transport to attract and lure school children to come and demonstrate with him. Because he was convinced that Gairy police would never attack the crowd if there is children in it. He was convinced of that. And once he was released from detention or prison, Maurice Bishop used the children to go on the foot and had the women and children protecting him on the foot, although Maurice Bishop was preparing for battle. Maurice Bishop must have realized that the other side knew, Iwat Lane and the others, they knew that he had evoked the Angola option. But he's hoping that the slaughter of the children and the people would be worse off for that side, or they will be hesitant to slaughter them. Now, how he could be a hero? Now, the committee must tell us that. Before you declare the hero, you must publicly take issues with this thing. Give your side of the story. You might say it is justified. Just as how some of the people in the Muslim world and also in the West doesn't believe Hamas is a terrorist group and the right to use residential areas to kill Israelis. We have to, if we don't get these things right, you wouldn't have harmony. You that wake up Maurice Bishop, the government of Grenada under Deacon Mitchell wake up the Maurice Bishop story because they want to ride, they want to benefit on Maurice Bishop's popularity. Yes, he was popular. He was a great orator and people love him. And the topics that he spoke on was politically opportune. But what was the heroship? So Deacon Mitchell come on the scene now and he wants to ride on Maurice Bishop's popularity. So you set up these fake committees, these sham committees to do your bidding. The committee will be a sham. In the same way you had marketing board committee and the GDB board, so that ministers could nurse the GDB bank and get several millions of dollars from GDB in under a year. This committee for independence is a sham. We see what happened in the launching. All the spokesperson was glorifying Maurice Bishop. But what's about the torture? What's about the target practice they take on Mikey Foot? What's about the castration of Broco? The toenails they remove from the policemen. And the advantage he take on the women. And I challenge Gino, gender affairs, and any woman in the organization in the Caribbean. Go and investigate it and tell us whether you're satisfied with what Maurice Bishop did to some of the women that was arrested. We have to face this truth. We have to be a people that want the truth. I see a number of our communist brothers and sisters now they're in the United States of America. They were the ones that implementing the policies in the revolution. They were the ones that hung down people. Come on, you want to turn back the revolution? Any simple disagreement you had with them or difference of opinion would result in a verbal chastising. Come on, he's a CIA agent. You want to turn back the revolution? Stay there and feel the weight of the revo. When we say over 3,000 people was in jail, we are only speaking about those Maurice Bishop signed the detention order. We had a sister that run for election. She spent about 2 weeks in jail. And her husband had to bring she baby twice a day for her to nurse. Then obviously people was encouraging him to do that, hoping that he would soften the heart of those who held her in the police station. She remained in the police station for 2 weeks. And every day, twice for the day, the husband brought her baby for her to nurse with tears in their eyes. We are not counting her, you know, because the detention order was not signed for her. So when we say over 3,000 people was in jail, we only speaking about the people that Maurice Bishop signed the detention order. Several hundreds or even perhaps more than 1,000 persons spent time in prison, in the cell, in different camps, was detained. Now, how Bishop could be a hero? Bishop overthrew the legitimate government. Although the NJM or the Alliance was crowded with lawyers, they were not able to challenge anything Gairy did in the court. Ask yourself that. Why is it all the claims they are making now? And they're telling you, we saw, I was there. Why that was not challenged in the court? They're speaking now as if they had empirical evidence. I heard, I was there, I saw. They had a battery of lawyers. But they never challenged anything in the court. You know, it's kind of sad. And they propagate these lies. And they repeat it with conviction. And they expect us to stay silent. Bishop was not a hero. And the quicker the government rethink their position by not endorsing 1979-1983 as no glorious period and start being honest with themselves. When they make the claim that nothing was not achieved post-83, the quicker the NDC make a rude awakening and start to stick with the truth, I think it will be better for everybody. They really want some people to stay silent, you know, on this Bishop issue. But maybe we have to appeal to the brothers in the diaspora, because he has shifted his emphasis from Grenada to the diaspora and the galas. And I say to you, anytime you find a public figure or leader too ready to partake in this glamour and lavish lifestyle, is a dangerous thing. But if you don't believe me, I encourage you already to research Michael de Freitas and the butcher of the Congo. Because these people wanted to live a lavish lifestyle, they committed crimes. The National Democratic Congress is spending a lot of time and a lot of energy on having a good time. They gallivanting. They enjoying themselves. They in party after party after party. Gala after gala. We ask who is paying for it. They're traveling as if they inherited money. Well, the money they meet there is not for the purpose of lavish lifestyle for themselves. They're traveling and they're traveling with a spouse and they entourage. And they're telling lies, they're hiding. So a people deserve the government they have. This is a democracy. If you like Deacon, try to get him to walk the straight and narrow. He's on the wrong path. He's telling lies. He's deceiving the public. And he wants to live a lavish lifestyle. He more out of the island than in. He is spending an immense amount of time out of the island. Go and spend weekend in Dubai. From London to Dubai. And he and his entourage. We understand even his spouse traveling with them. And some of the members traveling with a spouse too. You see, I prefer to say spouse. Because sometimes man travel with man, women travel with. So I prefer to say spouse. Cover them. We are not supposed to support that. And this thing is taking place at the expense of who Eric Gairy fought bitterly for. That is what even was. This thing is taking place at the expense of those Eric Gairy fought for. 50 years of independence. And we have to be talking about disadvantaging the elderly, the physically challenged, disadvantaged children, and the young people that have been given a second chance. Deacon Mitchell and the National Democratic Congress are putting tears in their eyes. You know what it is to lose $300 from your income? You're not making $1,500 a month, you know. And government remove $300 from your income. You know what that means? Particularly after the government promised you more. The government promised to make them permanent. And these Imani workers was well aware that if you make me permanent, automatically I'll get more pay. Instead, the government removing money from them. So we want to appeal to the Gala people. Remember the poor Grenadians here. We know you dress up in your nice dandan. You're taking picture and you're having a good time. But please remember the poor in Grenada. Every now and then, ask one of the ministers who are enjoying themselves in the gala, eating expensive food, expensive clothes, dressing with the latest jacket. Every now and then, ask them, what crime did the people involved in the Imani program committed in Grenada? What crime, what wrong did the Imani workers did to the NDC? Why treat them like that? And I said before, the NDC have a history of going after these people. They tell lies to them all the time, and they disadvantage them every time they get the opportunity. So these people expected to be made permanent. There was not given reason or justification for the change in the government policy. No reason was advanced. Instead of that, they are removing money from them. Instead of that, these people are being threatened with MIT ministry. That's the ministry that is responsible for threatening workers. Ministry of Mobilization, MIT. So we could only appeal to you in the diaspora. You seem to have immense influence on Deacon. So we appeal to you. I always believe that the diaspora have a significant role to play in the development of our country. They have expertise, they have experience, and sometimes they have discretionary income. And they can impart these talents to all people in our country. But they must stand up for justice with compassion. They must stand up for what is right. And they should be reasonable. So I don't know how you could stand up and agree for the government to remove income from people without giving justification. The government have a reasonable, justifiable reason why they drop the pay of these people. Then one might, even though you don't agree, but willing to accept it, because the government advanced justifiable reason. Even the communists in the diaspora, I see a number of them on social media, hardline communists in Grenada. Now they tame. They're jumping up in gala. I know these individuals never had a conviction. There was never had a Marxist-Leninist conviction. It was all about power and opportunity. Why do I say that? When the revolution experiment collapsed, none of them went to Cuba. None of them went to East Germany or Czechoslovakia or Russia or any socialist country. They didn't even go to Guyana. All of them headed to the country they was complaining and chastising the most, United States of America. Canada, England, the same hardline Marxist-Leninist that was taking target practice on Mikey Foot, that participated in the castration and all the other political mischief in the country in the name of socialism. All of them flee to the United States of America. Once they were able to get a visa, they make it. United States of America, England, Canada, a few of them make Trinidad, later years, America. So I knew that they did not have a conviction about Marxist-Leninism. But why target the people in the lower income group? I am baffled. Because if you want to raise the bar in your country, you must put emphasis on having more people in the lower income group raised in terms of the discretionary income and the academic level. So you don't want to disadvantage children. You want the children to go to school and do well. And this government is doing the opposite, because we have a number of children that is struggling more now than before. And they're going to tell you they pay tuition. But it did not affect, because the people they paid for, the parents had the discretionary income to pay the money. So it's unfortunate and it's sad, and we are celebrating 50 years, and the government seems to put that 50 years between 1979 and 1983. We have been speaking about that, and as a result, you're going to hear them making mention of some things before. I see now on social media that Eric Matthew Gairy picture start showing up. Because we have been pointing out how the policy is flawed. How the committee that is set up is a sham. I don't expect it to be a broad-based committee because the government is not inclusive. So I understand that. This is the policy of the government. I don't expect the government to establish a broad-based committee. So what they have is a committee that is not inclusive, is a real NDC committee. And they are not even pretending. They are not even pretending. So they launch that 50 years, albeit glorifying Maurice Bishop, rather than and refuse to pay attention to the atrocities that was committed by Maurice Bishop. You know, it's a challenge. And I think in Grenada we have to continue standing up against the government action of trying to establish the heroship of Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop was a criminal. He committed treason. He jailed over 3,000 people. He supervised torture. He participated in it. They say he used to out his cigarette on his opponents. He participated in it. He supervised over the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism. So that committee that you set up, Dick Mitchell, is just another sham. It adds to the one marketing board, GDB, and this committee is a sham. And you are watered down in the independence celebration. Yes, you have enough money to bring down the diaspora and to squander using lavishly monies from government. It is sad and it's unfortunate, and we have to continue as a people to call out these blunders. We have to continue to remind the National Democratic Congress that is supposed to be a government for all. You see, if they did not say that in the manifesto, in the election campaign, people have a right to vote for who they want. They won the election fair and square, but they lied to the people. They deceived them. They tricked them. And I believe we quite in order to constantly remind the people and to point out to the members of the National Democratic Congress, hoping that they have a change of heart, hoping that somewhere along the line they're going to have an encounter that could redirect them. They still have time. They still have a time to make a dramatic change and discontinue where they're going now. Where you're going now is trouble. You want to thwart the course of history. You want to lie about history. You want to distort the truth. And I don't think we should let you do it. Otherwise, you will have a watered-down hero. We must tell the dark sides of Maurice Bishop. You that evoke his spirit. You that didn't let him rest. So now that we must point out these things so that our children must know the truth. You must repeat it. You must sit down and discuss the revolution with your children. You must discuss NDC policy. with your children. Every opportunity you get, talk about it. This government is the worst government in history in terms of the hostility to the people in the lower income group. No justification. From day one, as soon as they start, they raise the price of sugar. Who does that? Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, it seems to me that in a lot of cases the government is putting the cart before the horse. I just heard on the news again that the hairdressers and barbers and so will be given an amnesty and given training. You know, you actually was bringing a bill on them. Now you're going back and train and ask them to train. All that could have been seen and done before. Bring them up to standard. You know, I think we have to do better than that. We have to do better as a government. Too much blunders. Too much blunders now.
If we didn't speak about it, they're sneaking it in you.
Yeah, too much. You know, even the Rastas today are getting kind of fed up because they thought, believe that they're not properly treated after all what was said. To them, they thought by now they would have started to cultivate marijuana. You know, we see Paradise Granby Estate would be the first, but the minister can. You have Granby that have so much other crops and areas that is allotted to other persons that you have not actually tell them. I understand that the Rastas went to see Granby and they were told of certain areas that is a mark for certain things already. But the minister went ahead and said that Granby will be the first estate you plant in.
Really?
So how you'd have analyzed that? If you have 5 acres of cocoa, would you have chopped down the 5 acres of cocoa?
Well, I don't think they're that interested in cocoa.
Well, we have to be.
You feel they're interested in cocoa?
When they started work, when this government came in power, one of the most productive places they got was Granby Estate.
They said that, yeah.
Right. So if it was so good, and at one glance you decide to change the practices that has been there, the cultural practices, without even looking at it, I think they're putting the cart before the horse and they have to wake up.
You believe this government interested in cocoa?
Well, I expect them to be interested in everything.
I don't feel interested.
Agricultural wise, I expect them to be, but I'm not satisfied that things are being looked at. You know, for instance, the farm labor support, they're having a lot of problems with it, and the minister himself admits that they have some problems. So I mean, we could have structured it, and the thing is, you don't have to. Because NMP was doing one way, we don't want to do it. If NMP practice was good, nothing wrong in following it. The benefit is for Grenada.
But then the saying that you have done nothing since 1983 will have fallen flat on the lap. So now they have to discontinue and chastise all these things to justify the statement.
Well, we can't live in the world that way. You have to look at what is bad, look at what is good, and just prepare, continue from there. You don't have to stop every program to start it. I'm concerned about that. Thank you.
Yes, scholar, and I share your concern. I know you are an individual that deeply have a deep conviction where agriculture is concerned. You have to remember that we're dealing with a government that have the worst track record where agriculture is. The government is good in propaganda. But in practicality, on the ground, they have the worst track record in agriculture. Yes, scholar.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Grenada.
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, you know, as Clifford just finished speaking there, since the government came in, I realize they're trying to fulfill all the policies, all the rules and laws that the former NDC has started in the 2008 up to 2013, you know, they told me in office. Because I realized the same thing with the hairdressers. They started that since 2008.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of them think, even the council thing for the sports council thing, they started in 2008. So a lot of them think they come in and pass in law and just go and sit down in parliament and just pass stuff. If Tina was there under their tenure in 2008, and they coming now to just party and just throw it on people's throat because it was already there. But you cannot just do things and just throw it on people's throat like that. You're not making no sense. You understand? That's not making no sense. And another thing again, Mr. Pierre, I heard the Prime Minister again, gone on the gala banting, rampage, and only using Grenada name to make money for NDC. Because the gala is not to benefit Grenada, it's to benefit NDC. You understand? And the housing, keep selling the housing, selling your investment. I want to know if the government is a real estate, because they into real estate business, selling houses, and I find that, and even the health department too, they say to buying like an investment, so you could you have to pay for services just in the hospital. I tell them, just be careful, look out, keep our eyes open, be focused, because trust me, this government, they're not for we, they're for them. Yeah, so they're not for people, they're for party, and the party people, because it's all about them time now, and they don't care, like they see the other persons in Grenada, everybody talk is a LNP. Sometimes you're not even for no party, but it's just for nation building. You understand? Because I support a government that will bring benefits for the people. When you go out there, we're looking to hear what you're coming back with. To benefit the people, not for party. Everybody don't support your party. You understand? Some people don't support no party at all, but they just vote because of for nation building. You understand? So have a good day, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar. Yes, scholar. Thank you.
Keep focused.
Yes, and you're correct in that. Some people, I know people who never vote. They don't vote. Some people vote for NDC, they vote for NNP, they vote for NDC, they vote for NNP. So this government has established the restorative justice policy, and they established a ministry to terrorize and hunt down those who they believe are not members of the National Democratic Congress. I think that is unwise and it is unjustified. The government actions is going to affect the cottage industry in the short term and medium term. Take, for instance, street food. All over the world, street food is a big thing. You could go into some places and you find people plotting tourists here, plotting people here on the street. And some countries encourage it. It's almost come as a tourist attraction. But since the government come in power, they've been attacking the low-income group. The people who make dog teeth and sandwich and sweets and snow ice, they attack them, they raise the price of sugar. They raise the price of water and they raise the price of sugar. And when you raise the price of sugar, it has multiplying effect. And the government lie. The government says about diabetes. Well, if it's diabetes, they would not have been encouraging or talking about white potato. So they're telling lies. They did it to stunt the growth of the people in the lower income group. And I am baffled. I don't know why. I'm trying to find out why. What is the reason? I've asked a lot of members of the NDC that are willing to entertain you. Now, you don't have to believe me. You could play devil's advocate. Why is it you stunting the growth of the cottage industry? And then you come now with a law that you're practically charging barbers and hairdressers more money in fees than lawyers. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, how you was speaking about Mr. Gairy, no? Maybe say it on Facebook as I do. I went on Facebook and I saw they have these photos there. Mr. Gairy, because people talked about him when they put his photo there, and the bishop, and I think Austin, and I don't know the rest. And I don't even see Dr. Kit Mitchell's photo there. These people and them, they hate Dr. Kit with a passion. I don't know what he do them. I don't know what happened. I don't know. They
Political
really,
jealousy.
they really
Politically
hate,
jealousy and small-minded
tell them
individuals.
what God bless, no man can curse it. Yeah? They could do what they want, what God bless, no man can curse it. And what God curse, no man can bless it. And God curse them. Because of the evil they're doing, they go only make plan, but they will never succeed. In Jesus' name. Bye, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges we have. When you don't have a government that is inclusive. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Pierre.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
My name is Robertson.
Yeah.
I would like to sponsor me some medication, please.
Yes, scholar. What you said?
To sponsor me some medication, please.
They didn't get you back on the program.
Yes, but they don't give the money yet.
So they only tell you they're going to get you, but they don't give you the money?
Hello?
Give us your telephone number again.
4104169.
416.
4104169.
4169. Yeah.
Yes, 410.
All right, we're going to make a special appeal out because some people sometimes call us to assist people, and we're going to make a special appeal to assist you. All right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. And we have to call on the diaspora people. We want to call on the people in the diaspora. Those are you that was able to get Dick Mitchell to go and visit the senior home. We have this sister, Shirley Robinson, that cried out to us a couple months ago. She was on the SEED program. The National Democratic Congress removed her. So when we're speaking about real people, you know. The sister dear gave us her name and her telephone number. And I tell you, we're dealing with a group of people, when I call them vultures, you think it's joking. That is the worst group of individual that ever been in politics in Grenada. It's a greedy group of vultures. They want to live lavish lifestyle. And that's why I appeal to Grenadians to research Michael de Freitas. And we're going to be back with you again. The program comes to an end. That's the last program for this week. On Monday. So we're back with you, and thank you very much.